Here it
We
is.
got to get that as part of the intro that the audience can hear. Is Tim saying, "Here we go"?
Wait a second before we get going. Are we sure we're live? Because I'm still like I have the YouTube video up and it's just still
Yeah,
saying live in 8:28. I don't
I
know.
see it.
Oh,
It's on
okay.
mine.
Yeah, we can hear. Yeah, we're here.
We're live. Good thing the audience is still just shuffling on
I
in.
know, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there we are. I for whatever reason. Okay. My tablet was being a dumbass, so I got it solved. I see it now. We're good.
All right. Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone, to the live stream.
I am currently reading a revision that the Green Bay Packers have used for the proposal of the potential ban of the tush push.
Okay. What are they saying about it?
It says the Green Bay Packers' efforts to get the tush push ban continued today being Monday. They revised the proposal by saying the Packers added the word push and included that no player should lift another player to his feet. The team also removed a section from the rule that would disallow players from using interlocking interference. Additionally, the Packers added a section that would, I don't want an ad, that would disallow players from assisting the runner except by individually blocking opponents for him. Okay. All right. Look, a couple things come out today about that. That being the most recent one, that's absurd because the Packers used their own tight end. So essentially, they're banning a play that worked for them in the playoffs, might I add. And then Luvu, whatever that guy's name is from Washington, said he wanted to ban a play that is cheap tricks. This coming from the guy who created 4 offsides and almost awarded his team a loss of points to the Eagles. So I don't think he should be the one talking, personally, in my opinion.
Definitely
Yeah.
not. Definitely.
It's soft as Charmin, man.
It really is, man.
Other teams have figured out at least how to minimize the damage. I'm looking at this team right here when they played a year and a half ago now at this point in the NFC title game. The Niners did a pretty good job of minimizing the damage on the tush push. Why can't somebody else figure it out? Get better.
Point,
hit the squats. Come on.
Here, I'm going to do that. I'm going to help our audio guy. I'm going to filter out the noise coming in from my window because it's so hot. So give me 2 seconds, guys.
Yeah. Okay. In the meantime, Sam, I can't help but notice the hat you're wearing, the Waterbury Open from 1996. It's a classic. That looks good,
I was
man.
there. I got to see the game winner, the match winner. Got to see Happy celebrate.
Yeah. Shooter McGavin had to shoot the ball off of Frankenstein's fat foot, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was. I was a little kid, but
tough break
it was a great time.
break for truly a legend, but also quite the villain, if I remember correctly. Oh man, yeah. I had to buy a new hat. Actually, this is a new Niners hat. It looks a lot like the old one because I like the classic red style. I had to buy it because the old Niners hat that I had was fitted. And since I've been, behaving for almost a year now, 11 months as of today, actually, that hat was now too big for me. So I went and got a snapback, and we're rocking a new hat. And this is how we are vamping while Tyler is fixing the window situation at his house, trying to limit.
Very nice, dude. Well, I think we could just jump into the Brock
that's
Purdy
true,
thing, dude. Why don't we just jump
that?
there?
Yeah, sounds great. So Brock Purdy agreed, and the Niners agreed to a 5-year, $265 million extension, full no trade clause, and $181 million guaranteed. And this pays him out $53 million a year. I thought that 45 was probably about what he was worth, but knowing that he would get 50 because that's the going rate for good quarterback play, and that's what he is. He's a damn good quarterback, and that's what it's going to cost. I wish it wasn't that high, but also it's not my money to spend. Like I'm the fan that's shelling out $35 for a hat. I'm not shelling out for season tickets. So I'll buy a shirt and I'm locked in for every game, but I'm not I don't have to worry about that part of it. That's that's the bean counters in the accounting office. They can handle that. Joan and payroll. That's her
Yeah.
job,
Yeah. Shout out Joan.
So yeah, shout out Joan. Yeah, I'm just glad that this discussion is now put to bed a little bit. George Kittle got paid. We talked about that maybe 2 weeks ago now at this point. And breaking news today, Fred Warner, about an hour and a half ago, he gets paid for the second time in his career. He gets the highest. He's now the highest paid linebacker in the NFL. It's a 3-year, $63 million extension, more than $56 million guaranteed. So the Niners are paying out their most important, still on the right side of 30 talent. Kyle Juszczyk had to take a bit of a pay cut to stay. Javon Hargrave ended up getting cut to make room for these kind of contracts. Deebo Samuel got traded, but they're finally able to take the Brock Purdy question off the table. They got Fred Warner locked up because he had no more guaranteed money. He still had a couple of years left on his old contract, but it was like $29 million, but zero of it guaranteed. So they basically are throwing that out. He's got the next 3 years, man, and I'm super stoked that the biggest thing that was giving me agita, I was like, just get it solved. That's what I was shouting about last, the last few weeks whenever we talked about the Brock Purdy thing, and now it's solved. He ended up getting 53 a year. Great, love that for him. He was the last pick in the draft. Nobody makes it in the NFL from the last pick of the draft, and now here's a guy getting $265 million for it. So congrats to him. I'm glad that the Niners got their franchise quarterback locked up for the foreseeable future. And I don't know what else to say. Just I'm really excited.
Reading a little bit about his deal is that it's a 5-year deal, but it's mostly it's pretty much a 3-year deal is what's being speculated.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that the 49ers can basically get out of the deal after 3 years, and it gives them some flexibility to convert money if they wanted to continue the contract. So it gives the 49ers some flexibility.
Yeah, they
And I
can
think
play
one of
the salary
concessions
cap
is
game.
the no trade clause, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So the 49ers have flexibility with the money, and then Brock Purdy has flexibility of if you don't want me anymore and you want to trade me, I got a little bit of control of where I can go. So I think I think it's a good deal for both sides. They compromised, right?
That's what's supposed to happen, right?
That's what's supposed to happen.
Nobody's supposed to
they
feel like
finally got something done early.
Or early-ish. I mean,
right?
In a perfect world, this would have been done right around draft day. But
so part of me,
I'll take it in mid-May. I will take it in mid-May. Love this. We're not going into training camp in July with this question looming.
Part of me feels like, with the Fred Warner thing happening so quickly, there was a little bit of a rumor that maybe the deal was being delayed because Brock Purdy didn't want to do some of the mini camps. So when you push it this far out, you finally get the some of the mini camps out of the way, and now it's just the mandatory mini camps. And then also the 49ers sold like 6% of their team to 3 different families, so maybe they needed to get some cash,
a little cash
infusion. Somebody else's cash.
That was the biggest key right there. That's how I knew the contract was coming, because when I saw that, I go, oh, they needed to get some capital real quick.
The rumors were rumoring for sure. Right around that time.
When you put the guaranteed money has to go into an escrow account.
Yes.
Like the money has to go to an escrow account. So I think that's why when that deal came in, the 6% sold. They
pretty much just
escrow.
They directed probably about 4% of that 6% that came in, like 2/3 of it probably went straight into that escrow account just for Brock, and then break off a chunk for Fred too while we're at it.
That escrow contract situation. I mean, multiple teams did it, but you could think the Bobby Bonilla for that situation. There's a reason why that is a requirement now.
Yep,
absolutely. So I guess you're feeling pretty good about your team there, Vince.
I'm feeling so much better. This is like literally like I'm doing the Steve Young, hey, get the gorilla off my back, man. Like in 1994 at the Super Bowl, man. Like this is this was the thing that was like hovering over the entire franchise right now. As soon as like the Brock Purdy thing gets done, then you can start doing some other stuff. I did find confidence that the George Kittle thing happened even before this. I was like, okay, if they're doing the George Kittle thing, that tells me that they're feeling real good about getting Brock Purdy done soon. And it took a couple more weeks, but for it to get like announced, but it happened. We're done. We're on to Cincinnati. Like as
Absolutely.
as Jordan's boyfriend once said.
Well, there was a couple of other contracts that got signed in the NFL, and I know we're going to circle back to the 49ers and our other teams because the schedule release. So Vince, why don't you take care of the numbers here with the signings in the rest of the league?
So Derrick Henry and the Ravens, 2-year, $30 million extension, $25 million guaranteed. That's the most ever money for a 30-year-old or older running back. He's still performing incredibly well last season, and if you're somebody that has him in like dynasty fantasy football, you're just rocking with him till the wheels fall off, man. Like that's when you're just gonna ride into the grave. This is he's going to be great until he's not, and as far as we can tell, he's still going to be great, and he's getting paid like it. So good for Derrick Henry. The Titans don't ever want to pay anybody. That's how AJ Brown ended up with the Eagles. And this is how Derrick Henry ended up with the Ravens. He performed well for the Ravens, and wouldn't you know it, he's getting rewarded, and we love that for him.
Absolutely.
That was
major. Round of applause for all the guys getting paid. All right.
That's right.
Well, to be fair, the Titans said that AJ Brown's going to cost us too much, and we already have the future AJ Brown and Treylon Burks, who no longer is on the team anymore.
And they've been right.
They've been dead wrong.
I think Treylon Burks is currently a free agent, if I'm not mistaken. If not, I thought the Titans dropped him this season. So, but anyways.
Yeah. Let's see.
Swing and a miss.
Let's see. The Bears are focusing their for the new stadium on Arlington Heights after significant progress there, according to The Athletic. So, just other random news and notes here and there. That's basically
so
it.
like on and off for the Chicago Bears, the Arlington Heights thing. I believe they like bought land or tried to buy land along, some years ago. And then Chicago said, we're going to fix Soldier Stadium. And then they were trying to work, like, it's just a mess over there.
Yeah. So, I mean, they were trying to get something done in downtown Chicago, and that project is kind of just not happening. So they're going out to the suburbs now. So that's kind of where the Bears are at. They did just put money into Soldier Field not too long ago, also, which is just kind of the way the way it goes, isn't it?
And nobody likes
stadiums.
Nobody likes that renovation.
No, that renovation was not done well at all. We got to see it in 2019 as we were driving in from the airport, into the city when we were doing that road trip out there. I like it when teams at least stay within range of their homes. We're a little bit on edge whenever teams are relocating or talking about new stadiums and stuff like that. There's another piece of news that we'll get into a little bit later tonight, but this is good that at least they're staying within the Chicago area, Chicagoland as they call it out there. So good for them. And with that, I think let's just start talking about the schedule. Who wants to go first with your teams?
No, I'll let you guys go. I got all my schedule leaked last week, so you guys go.
Fair enough. Okay, you know what? I'll just keep talking. Why not? The Niners got we already knew they were going to have the easiest schedule based on win percentage because the teams are basically locked in as soon as the season ends. It's just a question of when you're going to play these teams. The Niners have the easiest schedule in the league based on the 24 win percentage. So they're going to open up on the road at Seattle and at New Orleans. They come home to play the Cardinals and the Jaguars, and then they got a Thursday night game in week 5 against the Rams. The Niners could be 4-0 heading into that game. If they get that first one in Seattle, I think Seattle's going to come back down to earth a little bit after losing, all those pieces and getting a new coach and everything. And I just, I'm expecting 3-1 minimum at that point going into the Rams game. I would not be shocked at all if they're 4-0. I would be shocked if they're 1-3. I'd be disappointed if they're 2-2. So the Niners are going to be able to get off to. They have the chance to get off to a really hot start. You get the Rams, and then you got the Buccaneers, and the Falcons are actually probably going to be a pretty good team. Back to back. The Texans are probably good, but we'll see how things are shaking out there. But they get to play in week 9 the Giants, and that game is there could be a different head coach by the time the Niners play that team, because the Giants got no favors for their schedule, man. The only tough part for the Niners schedule is the week 14 bye. I don't love that. I don't love having a bye that late into the season. I think ideally, probably week 11-ish is when you want it, like mid-November, sometime around there. That I think that's the perfect bye. You want to have more than half the schedule done, but not so much more than half that it's just too late and the rest doesn't even matter. Like the rest is overdue,
Yeah.
So I was just taking a cursory look at this schedule. They finish up the season. You got the Titans, the Colts, the Bears, and then the Seahawks. Those are your last 4 games after the schedule. Before the bye, you have the Browns and the Panthers and the Cardinals. So the Niners could feasibly head into that final week of Seattle, especially if the Bears don't have it figured out. You're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They could be on, who knows, a 6-game winning streak or something like that heading into that game, depending on how things break. If it's if it's crazy snowing in Cleveland, for example, that could be a wash, but overall, the Bears are coming here. The late December game against Indianapolis, that's not out in the weather. They have a dome, So in terms of weather, the only true weather question mark you have for the Niners is that Cleveland game on November 30th. So other than that, the Niners got pretty fortunate with the way the schedule shook out.
My guy acts like
absolutely.
global warming doesn't happen.
Right. So yeah, November 2nd against the Giants. It's possible it could be a little rainy and ugly there. I don't know how. It's impossible to know for sure, but yeah, you should beat the Giants anyway. The Browns, they got 5 quarterbacks right now, so we don't even know who's going to be starting by that point. Yeah, I'm looking cautiously optimistic, and I'm seeing 12 wins is well within possibility, for the 49ers. This is, I mentioned it at the end of the last season, getting this 4th place schedule is going to be a boon, and the boon is booning. Here we are. They have, if the Niners can stay healthy, they should be able to handle business. I'm expecting double-digit wins. I'm meant as I check it off, like I said, 12 wins is what I'm expecting. Anything less than 10 wins, I think, is a disappointing season. So that's where I stand with the Niners. Who's
I
going
100%
next?
agree with you, Vince. Yeah. As not a 49er fan, but just somebody who lives in the market, watches a lot of their games, just based on the schedule, based on their coaching, right? What they're supposed to be as far as showing up to play and the scheme that they're running. They got the quarterback. They got the quarterback on defense re-signed. They got a lot of guys returning. You got a lot of young guys coming in. I would think
we got
11
HR in the chat saying free Kuminga and then the Niners will win 9 games max. We'll see about that. Niners are going, I'm calling it right now, 12-5. Book it. 12-5.
I see the 49ers, for me, it's
thanks for watching, HR.
The bottom is 10 wins, right?
That's the bottom. That's
is
my
10
basement.
wins. That's my expectation.
Because of the 4th place schedule, they have the easiest schedule going in. the Rams are going to be a tough one. I think they probably split the games with the Rams because that's kind of what happens. Shanahan does have the regular season advantage there. Yeah, I mean, like if I'm being super critical, like and I give everything that's a question mark a loss, we're looking at 10 wins minimum. That's like that's where I'm at with the Niners. So there we are. Sam, do you want to go next? Talk about your Raiders schedule with Ashton Genty. Who's he going to be running over?
He's going to be running over the entire league. I think the Raiders. It's easy to say that they're going to be last in the division just based on what last year's results were. But I'm telling you, man, this is a totally different team. It is completely different. As somebody who's like watching every single thing that this team is doing right now and consuming everything they're doing, they're going to be a buttoned up franchise. I don't think there's going to be any nonsense coming from, John Spytek and Pete Carroll. You're not going to have the descent that happened with Josh McDaniels. The guys that they're targeting in free agency and in the draft, we hate to point it out, but you're not getting the Henry Ruggs and the Damian Arnetti, with the guns, and you're not getting the extra. Like everybody is really buttoned up. Ashton Genty, his mom's a teacher. His dad was in the military. It's like a disciplined kid. I mean, you could see that throughout the draft. They got 11 players in the draft, guys. 11 picks this past draft, plus the guys that they signed after the draft. They're turning this roster over, and we're hearing it all the time. Compete, right? That's what Pete Carroll is all about. And that's what we're seeing in training camp. There's a lot of money on this coaching staff. There's high expectations. You're bringing in a professional quarterback. I'm not saying Geno Smith is a top 5 guy. He's a professional. He's a
good quarterback. I think
he's a good quarterback. He's going to do his job. He's going to do it to the best of his capabilities. And he has a little wiggle to his game. If you don't watch him, he's going to run for a first down, so he has a little bit of wiggle. He loves the deep ball. You go out and you draft wide receivers that can get downfield. You got guys coming back, Jacoby Myers, that he's a route runner. So there's a lot of guys that they added to this team that are going to be able to do a lot of things. And you got Brock Bowers, and he did that with some of the worst quarterback play in the league. And now you have a quarterback who can get the ball downfield, make reads. You're going to have a really good running back. You spent a lot of capital in the draft in the middle rounds, getting some really good offensive linemen. You continue to add to the defensive line with, have you seen this guy, Plegas? I hope I'm saying that right. This dude is an animal. I'm not saying he's going to come out and be a all pro defensive tackle right off the bat, but this dude is huge and extremely athletic. And like I said, all of these guys, these personalities, you see them in the interview room, like they love football. They got some dog in them. They want to compete. They want to fight. And I just think the Raiders next year, they're going to be a tough out. Maybe they're not a 14-win team or a 13-win team, but they're not going to be an easy layover. Pete Carroll teams, for the most part, they show up. They do their job. And they're going to be a tough team to put away. So I think they're going to be a sneaky good team. My baseline is you got to get to at least 9. For me, you got to get to 9. In that first year, I would love to get 10, 11, 12 wins. I would love to get a playoff spot, but I have to be real. The Kansas City Chiefs are in the division. The other teams did make playoff spots last year. But I think the Broncos are going to regress. I still don't believe in that quarterback. I'm not really sold on anything what the Chargers do. I know they got Harbaugh and Justin Herbert, but I'm not sold on those two teams, to be honest. I could see those two teams regressing, and I could see the Raiders greatly improving just with everything that they're doing within the program. The positivity is high. The fandom is finally united. It's there's not a lot of there's a lot of support. There's a lot of fun. And, the Raiders.
It sounds. Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say, it sounds like everybody's pulling the same in the same
Everybody's
direction.
excited. That Pete Carroll energy, man, it is contagious. Like when you're that positive and that attentive to detail and a teammate and accountable, that type of stuff is contagious. And I think that's where things get really fun. You know, like Vince, you and I, we had a lot of performative background while we were in school and we met and stuff like that. And when the whole team is on the same page, things get rolling, you know, and you start building momentum. And when you can trust the guy next to you, to your left, to your right, in front of you, like when you can trust that that person is doing their job, it makes you want to do your job. So I just see a lot of positivity and things like that, and the preparedness. And like I said earlier, the Raiders are spending a lot of money on this coaching staff, and that was one of the things that when Tom Brady and his group came in and bought this team, or a percentage of this team, that money, it's going to the coaching staff. It's going to the scouting. Look at John Spytek. He took 2 pieces from Tyler's team. He took 2 pieces from the front office. And, you know, Spytek has a history of being an Eagle. He's been a part of very good front offices, and he's taken from the best. Like you see some of the pieces that the Raiders have added in the front office. These are, very highly very highly, rated people in their respective field. And for the Raiders to get those 2 gentlemen from the Eagles, they gave them a big shiny new title. They gave them a big fat paycheck. We don't know exactly what it is, but if you're going to leave, I'm going to say it, they're probably the best ran organization from a football operation from Howie Roseman down, right? They're probably they got the best roster in the league. That's front office building, man. That's them. That's everybody from GM down to the scout doing their job. So to poach those guys, because the Eagles are going to compete for another Super Bowl just with the talent that they have, the Raiders did a great job of getting 2 of those guys to get your program jump started, because they know what it's like to win. And like I said, that's contagious. That winning, that mentality of showing up, that energy of being a good teammate, no matter if you're a football player or a front office person or for the 49ers, Joan and payroll, everybody has a job to do. And I think that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. The biggest difference with the Raiders right now is it doesn't feel like they're going to soil themselves. Right?
Right. All
So
right.
that's
Yeah.
my goal is 9 wins. And I think,
Okay.
that puts you above 500. And then anything from there is cake. It's all gravy. It's dessert after dessert, each win. But that's what I see, guys. I'm pretty hopeful that they're going to be a solid product. And we're going to see Brock Bowers. We're going to see Genty. We're going to see some young guys really step up. And we're going to see some veterans kind of lead this Raiders team into a new era of winning football.
All right.
Nice.
Tyler, what do you think about your schedule with the Eagles?
Boys, am I ready for the schedule? Let me tell
There we
you.
go. Oh, God.
Oh, here it
I
comes.
was born ready for this schedule, my guys. Super Bowl champions have showed up, and I am ready. Let me tell you 2 things, okay? I got 2 games circled. Week 10 and week 11. Week 10 is the Green Bay Packers. I am ready to punch them in the damn mouth for trying to ban my push. And number 2, NFL's trying to do a trap game on us. They make week 10 a Monday game, and then they make the Detroit Lions that following Sunday. But you know what? We're ready. Born ready. Champions, man. That's what we do. And let me tell you something else, okay? December 14th, that's the day that George Washington died. That is the birth of quantum theory. And that is the day that we put our hard hats in and we clock in and go to work. Raiders coming to Philadelphia. I am ready. Schedule. If we don't get 13, 14 wins, boys, it's not going to be a lock this season. The Commanders are coming in hot. We'll see what the Cowboys are going to do. I still think they're going to be the Cowgirls and do what they do best. But right now, it's the Eagles division to lose, and I'm ready for the schedule, baby.
Yeah, I can't wait to drop my how about them fraud boys.
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
really I'm excited for that. Every year it happens at some point.
Yep.
They reveal themselves to be the frauds that they are, and I'm ready for it. And I can't wait to see when it happens. Is it going to be early in the season, or do we have to wait a little bit? Do they like do a little fakey, like maybe it's for real this time? But at some point, it's going to come around. They're going to mess it up. They're going to be fraudulent as per normal, as per usual. So I'm excited for that, and I'm excited for the energy that you just brought there, man. So anything? I did note that in terms of miles traveled, Tyler, you're not too bad. You're going to be under 16,000 miles traveled.
Because we're not going to Brazil this year.
Yeah. The Raiders are going to be just a tick over 18,000 miles traveled. And the Niners, as usual, are top 5 in terms of miles traveled. They'll be at 28,363, according to this meme that I have. That's going to be 5th most miles traveled. Jacksonville is up there because they go to London, if I remember correctly. Seattle, and then both LA teams. Like, you know, so typical West Coast teams, those are the ones that travel the most. And that doesn't surprise me. You got, you know, so that it is what it is. You know,
I'm ready, baby.
It is.
Let's see what this short gets us, huh? What do you think, Tim? Yeah. Give me a thumbs up.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, that's right. Hit the bell for alerts. Yeah, Cowboys are going to cowboy, as Papa G says in the chat. Yep, that's exactly what's going to happen. I just don't know when it's going to happen. It's always a fun little surprise. And I have a coworker who sits next to me who is a Cowboys fan. So I get to walk in and rub it in her face a little bit. I just don't know when that's going to happen. Is it going to be September? Is it November? I don't know. We'll find out, though. We'll find out.
I saw a funny thing about you had mentioned the Giants' schedule was pretty messed up. It is pretty messed up.
Yeah.
But the running joke is that the Eagles' schedule would be the hardest one if they didn't have to play the Giants twice a year.
That's true. The Giants are helping lower that down a little bit, give you a nice little cushion, you know.
There we go.
All right. Just a couple of notes. The international games, the Vikings get to play back-to-back in Dublin and London. So that's fun for them. Like that's kind of, you know, unexpected, I guess. Let's see what else. The Chiefs are going to be playing in Brazil against the Chargers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good luck. Have fun.
Yeah. Have fun with that. We don't want any. Yeah, whatever. Let's see. Madrid is getting a game for the first time. They're getting the Commanders and the Dolphins. Berlin is getting the Colts and the Falcons. London gets 3 international games in 3 consecutive weeks. It's the Vikings, Browns, and then the Broncos and Jets. And then it's the Rams and the Jaguars. Man,
those
are 3 lopsided games, I think. Like, I think the visiting team is going to smoke everybody.
Like, the Jaguars go like every year because the fan base in London, like there's a ton of NFL fans, but like predominantly, a lot of them are Jaguar fans.
And that's because they've been going every year. Like it's sort of self-fulfilling prophecy at this point for them. Like they're the team that goes at least once every year because Shad Khan is the owner and he wants to do that, and that's the favor they granted him.
Do you think English fans look at the Jaguars like we look at Wrexham and just root for the underdog in hopes that something turns around for them?
I don't know. Some do, I'm sure. Others are smart and choose other teams based on, you know, either winning history or winning present, or if they're looking for somebody that hasn't gotten the final step done but has been close a few times, there's a certain place they can look as well.
Sure.
If you want to feel like you're rooting for a team that actually has a chance at doing it but hasn't done it yet, this is the sort of bandwagon to jump on, you know. Always room. Always like I'm a big believer in a big fan base, expansive fan base, a big tent, if you will. Yeah. So could be fun.
Yeah, but
anyway,
but you got to get on at like a low point.
Yeah, like the Sharks thing that we talked about in the past.
You got to get on.
Yeah.
Got to grind a little bit. You can't get on the Philadelphia Eagles train right now.
Yeah, no.
It's like the worst.
I don't know. I hyped up. If you want to join me after my hype video, I mean, I'm all in.
Absolutely. Now. Right, for sure. Okay. I think with that being said, you're not the only. I think it's time to move to basketball, and you're not the only one that can do a costume change, my friend. I was ready for this. Let's go. All right, let's talk Warriors. Unfortunately, they did get eliminated. They Steph Curry couldn't play. They lose Game 4 versus Minnesota on that last Monday by 7. Minnesota went plus 22 in the third quarter. They ended up leading by 20 going into the fourth. The Warriors couldn't dig their way out of that hole after that. Their best shot with winning without Steph was Game 3, it turns out, and they ended up not getting the job done. They couldn't extend it to Game 6. It sounded like Steph was going to be able to go for Game 6, like he was on his way. They just needed to come up with a W at some point, and they couldn't quite get it done because they lose Game 5 as well by 11 on Wednesday, and there's your season. The Warriors are expected to place a $10.2 million qualifying offer on Kuminga. There's a possibility that they keep him, but also is going to explore the sign and trade options. So,
is he a restricted free agent?
Jimmy Butler just kind of, it looks like Jimmy Butler, when he took that fall, he just wasn't the same after that as well. He was tough.
Yeah, I know there's a tough guy. With Jimmy Butler, like, I get it. You like, part of me agrees. We're like, you needed to just get one game without Steph Curry. You just needed the one. But I really believe the tailbone was not right. That's where I'm at with it. Like, the Warriors got one without Jimmy Butler. They got a couple without Jimmy Butler, and we couldn't get one without Curry. That hurts, especially the playoff Jimmy thing never really showed up, but I do believe his tailbone was something in there was bothering him, unfortunately.
I hope the NBA looks at this year and goes, you know what? Maybe it wasn't a wise idea to do a game every other day, and go back. I mean, look at Dame went out, Tatum went out, Curry went out, Aaron Gordon went out. I mean, not to say that Butler was out, but could he have done with an extra 4 days of rest in between games? Yeah, sure. Maybe would have got a better product on the court instead of getting 30-point blowout games. I'm not saying because my team's old, it is old, but yes, would we benefit the rest? Sure. But everybody else, I mean, who's to say, the rest wouldn't have helped them out avoiding that injury, So
yeah.
Greedy owners, man. Greedy owners, and the commissioner has nothing to do but to appease the ownership. So it is what it is.
So I guess just around the NBA to kind of wrap up the playoff talk. OKC ended up beating Denver in 7 games. Denver put on a hell of a show, but that Game 7 was just a dog walk, man. Like there was nothing left in the tank at that point, and they're off to Cancun. Before the playoffs started, everybody kind of in the East had Cleveland and Boston penciled in as your Eastern Conference Finals. They're not going to meet up there. They're meeting up in Cancun instead because the Knicks and Indiana, they get the job done. 4-1 for Indiana and 4-2 because of the Tatum injury as well for the Knicks over Boston. So, that's your Eastern Conference Finals matchup, and in the West, Minnesota and OKC, they are going to face up. These games start on Tuesday is the Western Conference, and then Wednesdays when the Eastern Conference happens, and basically they're going to go pretty much every other night, at least to start the series. So that's what we have to look forward to for the. It's going to be OKC, Minnesota, New York Knicks, or Indiana. And I think just for fan base size, I think the NBA is kind of secretly hoping that the Knicks make it to the finals because Indiana's a great. Like honestly, a perfect world I think is the Knicks get to the finals and lose. Because then like you get the fans going crazy as well. But like
I get Knicks fans being how they are when you've seen such mediocrity for decades at this point now. But man, they are just they're on another level. I know New York is a special city in its own right, and it's supposed to be gritty and all this stuff, but there's a borderline of being gritty and being abusive to other teams' fans is kind of crazy. Like they threw trash cans and mobbed at this Pacers fan, which, by the way, Tyrese Halliburton brought him on to forget his name, his show, Pat McAfee show, and invited the fan. Is going to fly him, his family, out to Indiana to watch the Knicks Indiana game, all paid for. So stick taps, whatever you want to say. Congratulations on that. But come on, Knicks fans. I know you guys haven't seen one in a while, but I mean, be a little bit more respectful. Don't beat up the other fan base. I've been seeing videos of them punching.
Says the Eagles fan.
Hey, you know what? I'm the nicest Eagles fan you'll ever meet. I'll tell you that.
You are.
Yeah.
Maybe you are.
I agree. But I'm just
There's a history. All we're saying is there's a history.
Shout out
Santa had it coming.
Santa had it coming.
Going full Chicago. He had it coming.
I want to come back to this Warriors and Jonathan Kuminga thing.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's dive in a little deeper here.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys been kind of going through the exit interviews and seeing Draymond's podcast response about Kuminga and this and that, but Kuminga was with Joe Lacob at the Valkyries game, sitting courtside together. What do you think is going to happen with Kuminga? What's your crystal ball telling you guys?
Oh, my crystal ball is that they're going to do the qualifying offer, right? Because they should, and they don't have a lot of money.
Why not?
Some a-hole team who has a lot of money to spend is going to try and sign him and outprice the Warriors. And the Warriors are going to either have to concede or pay the man. And I think it's not going to be a great day if we have to pay this man more than we think his possible value is. But again, he's 21, 22 years old.
Yep, 22.
The potential is super untapped. I know it doesn't look promising, but again, he was 19 when he joined the league. He had zero basketball experience compared to some of these other 19-year-old kids that you're seeing. Like the Thompson twins, Asor and his brother, they look great, but they've been playing basketball since they were kids. Kuminga got into it when he was in high school,
right.
At the very tail end of it, and sort of picked it up. And it wasn't really college, he just kind of went here.
Went to the G League for only a year, right?
Exactly.
I honestly like here's a team that I kind of have like just looking at the standings, looking at a team that was near the bottom but could make a quick jump up if they if things fall right for them. The 76ers. I think that's a team to look out for. That like that's the kind of team you talk about, some jerk team coming in and like overpaying. Like that's a possibility. There's a non-0% chance that it's the 76ers that come in and ruin it for the Warriors.
I just think the 76ers roster, I mean, they just paid Embiid, what I mean? They're going to pay Tyrese Maxey. They're going to pay Jared McCain. I know McCain had a rough rookie season, got injured at the end there. They're going to pay Quentin Grimes. They already paid Paul George. So I don't know how much room that they have to kind of do that D move of screwing over the Warriors, but certainly something to think of. I mean, a sign and trade, if they
that's kind of where it would go. Like it almost would have to be a sign and trade, but I think that's my prediction, is a sign and trade with somebody. Yeah, that's my prediction, is Kuminga is not on the Warriors next season because of a sign and trade.
I agree. Yeah.
I agree with you guys for the most part. I definitely agree with I just don't think it makes sense to keep him and then have this veteran team because you're going to pay Steph, Draymond, Jimmy Butler, and then you're paying Kuminga, and then how are you there's some expiring contracts on the Warriors. How are you adding a center? So I think the sign and trade is going to try to address, who's going to be, is Trace Jackson Davis going to be the starting center next year? He had some flash moments, but is he, if the Warriors believe that, then there's your starting center. But I don't know if they believe that right now, that they're going to win a championship with Looney and Trace Jackson Davis as your starting, and Quentin Post, throw that in there. I don't think they believe that you're going to win with that.
Unfortunately, I
Right.
think we've been saying this the last couple of years. It's not like they fall off a tree, but to compete in this NBA, the makeup's changed, man. The Warriors did run a small ball, yes, but how did the league and teams counteract that? They got versatile bigs, you know. Look at your Jokic, look at your Giannis is definitely one of those guys too that's slowly developing a 3-point shot. But uh, all these big guys are developing an outside range shot that it used to be small ball, run the big guy out of the gym. And while I love TJD and he's a threat in inside the paint, it's kind of the makeup. Teams just run him out of the building because he can't keep up with the center who's switching out or can't keep up with the small guards. But Kerr did say next year, Draymond will not be the starting center to start next season. So I don't know what that means as far, as our GM to get that done, but I got one name circled. I know it's counterintuitive to what I just said, but I got another guy in the draft pick that I'm looking at that maybe might fall to us. But again, I'm looking at Steven Adams. If you let Looney go, if you're going to move on from that, if you think Post is going to be your future, maybe run a two big system, kind of how the Rockets did with Post being a stretch big and Adams being in there to enforce, maybe you get a new Bogut 2.0. There's this Chinese 7'3" kid in the draft that it looks to be pretty polished as far as, a mini Jokic type of deal. Maybe you look at that in the draft and you move up. So I think this is all going to shake out with Kuminga after the draft. I think in reality, we don't know what the makeup of what it's going to look like for him until that draft day happens. He may not be on the team following after the draft day.
Right on.
Giannis, dude.
Yeah,
make that trade for Giannis. Yeah,
Giannis.
I know that if he if you were to give him choice of pick 6 teams or whatever, and to try to make a trade happen. I know that the Warriors are on that team on that list of 6 teams.
Oh, absolutely.
So
and then there's this ongoing
ongoing
bromance between Giannis and Curry. Like, I don't know if there's been a history of ongoing bromance between these two for years.
Right. Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Anything else, or do we want to move
I just
on
got.
to the Val? Oh, you go.
I
go
think
ahead.
a name to keep an eye on for the Warriors will be Cam Johnson from the Brooklyn Nets.
I agree.
He's a little older, and they want to get younger. So if you somehow get Kuminga to the Brooklyn Nets, because it looks like they're going to start resetting this, and you want a bunch of young guys. And I think with Kuminga, he's young enough to kind of see if you're going to build around them, get some draft picks, spend some draft picks, surround them with talent, build a young team, let them age up, kind of like what OKC did. And then for the Warriors, Cam Johnson is, I believe he's like 28 or something like that, 28, 29. So he's a veteran. He's not a super young guy. So I think as a veteran, he can fit in. And then the veteran team that is the Warriors can learn how to play with him. So I think that's a name to watch.
Fair enough. All right. So let's switch gears to the Valkyries. Let's go. The hat came in just in time for the opening game. Yep. I knew it was going to happen. The shirt was a little bit more delayed. The shirt just arrived today. So I'll have that for after I run it through the laundry, because I don't want to put a shirt on that I just got delivered. Anyway, so they had their season opener on Friday. It was a sellout crowd, over 18,000, and they were hosting the LA Sparks. They end up losing, going away. The fourth quarter was just all LA Sparks, and Kelsey Plum went nuclear in her debut for LA. She had 37 points, six assists, 5 steals, and she played every damn second of that game too, all 40 minutes. So she's making a mark on the team early, and she was just everywhere, and there was no answer for Kelsey Plum. The war on the Valkyries side, Julie Van Loo came off the bench and hit 3 consecutive threes near the end of the third quarter, including the first true heat check in Valkyries history. That third one, completely off balance and just kind of a screw it, let's just see if this will work. Oh crap, it did. She had actually her most impressive shot was actually in the second quarter. It was like off of an out of bounds play, and it was just throw up a prayer, and because the shot clock was running down, and she had her foot like just inside the line, so it was a 2. She finished with 14 points, but that the 1-2 that she made was probably the most impressive shot because it was just absolutely like out of nowhere, unexpected. Tiffany Hayes, who was the last season's 6th Woman of the Year, she had 19 points and 9 rebounds for the Valkyries as well. They kept it close right up until the fourth quarter. That's when the Sparks just kind of started pulling away. What I saw was a team that was kind of new to each other, didn't really know, like they weren't able to feel each other out, I guess, for whatever reason. I saw a lot of turnovers. But I also saw they were getting a lot of rebounds though too. They were
God, the Warriors
have the stats. The Valkyries they were they had +7 on rebounds in total. They were +6 in offensive rebounds. And then if you just look off of points in points off of turnovers, the Sparks were +10. So 25-15 on that one. So they turned over 20 versus the 11 for the Sparks. So like they were -9 in turnovers, and that was worth, -10 points off of turnovers. So like honestly, there's your game. Like if you're only down 7 instead of 17 heading toward, the final 4 minutes or so, all of a sudden that's a lot closer game, So like I see potential. I also see that this is a team that's still trying to like figure it out and learn each other a bit, and they're jacking up a lot of threes. I'll say that. They threw up 35 threes compared to 19 for the Sparks. So like they're gonna try to make it rain is what's gonna happen. That they need to shoot a lot better percentage on those threes though.
They're like Joe Lacob. They like the 3 ball, so you guys just check it.
Yeah, I mean,
Joe's like, I want you to have a lot of turnovers, but be really good at rebounding.
Yep.
Exactly what
they need to.
Center.
The one thing they need to do, they need to bump the assists up a bit. They only had 13 in this game, opposed to 19 for the Sparks. So ideally, I'd like to see them even or better on assists to be a true Golden State team. High assists. Jack up a lot of threes, right? They also just so it was just, from what I saw, they just had a bad shooting night. I think everybody was just a little too amped up. The adrenaline was pumping a little too much for the home opener, the team's first ever game, right? They actually even once Tiffany Hayes made the first bucket, I believe it was Tiffany Hayes. They took the ball off and they're sending it to the Basketball Hall of Fame. Because this is the first expansion team since 2008. So that first bucket is, it's kind of like a, hey, look, expansion is happening again. And this is the mark of a new direction for the W. So hopefully they can get it together. Their upcoming schedule, they have on Wednesday, they're playing the Washington Mystics. And they get to play at LA on Friday. Both of those games are 7 p.m. So, yeah. Positive these, but overall, just they need to take better shots, I think, and hit those better shots. These are the things we've seen from the men's side of Golden State. I'm not entirely surprised it's come that way on the women's side as well. So there we go. There is your Valkyries update. And while we're talking women's sports, that's right. BAFC time, baby. Let's go. All right. They get the W against Angel City 2-0. Hawking in the 23rd minute fires away from the left side. And then 4 minutes later on a penalty kick, Caroline Conti, after Huff drew a penalty against the goalkeeper, she goes low and left and in. Rachel Kundanaji hit a crossbar in the 58th minute. It could have been 3-0, and she did not miss by much. And it bounced hard off of that post, man. It was a rocket, but it just missed. they ended up changing the formations a little bit. I've been asking for the coach to like do something, poke him with a stick, do something. He started playing with the formations a little bit. They went with a 4-4-1-1. So you had your 4 defenders, 4 midfield, and then you had 1 forward playing a little bit further back, and then 1 up top. Rachel Kundananji was the one way up top, and then Taylor Huff was the one playing a little bit further back. It seemed to work a lot better. Angel City is near the top of the table right now, as it is anyway. So overall, they did have the better XG, expected goals, 1.22 to 0.96. That being said, there were a ton of shots from Angel City. Only 4 of them were on target though. But Silkowitz made hella good saves. So they're 3-1 when scoring first this season. 3-1-0, excuse me, 10 points, 3 wins, 1 draw, 0 losses. So if they score first, they're gonna at least get some points at this point. So I like that. They're sitting in 10th right now. They're only, as I look at it, they're only about a point out of the playoffs right now. Top 8 make playoffs. They're sitting in 10th. Angel City, with that loss, they were sitting up in like 3rd or 4th or something like that. They fall all the way to 7 at that point. So, the standings are still super close. It's still early enough, but we are a third of the way through the season at this point. So there are 3 players on BFC that have played every single minute, and it's your goalkeeper Silkowitz. It's 2 of your defenders. You have Caprice Tedasco and Abby Dahlkemper, who are both they're in their early 30s. Abby Dahlkemper has had a history of back injuries. So that's a little concerning that Abby Dahlkemper is leading the way in terms of your Iron Women through a third of the season. But she's been playing pretty good overall. Same with Caprice Tedasco. Right now, like I said, they're sitting on 3 wins, 2 draws, and 4 losses. So the next match is this Saturday. They're at Houston. That's a 2 p.m. kick. So, Houston, when I look at them in the standings, if I can bring up the standings, they are currently sitting in 12th. Okay. They're just 1 point behind, though. So 11 points versus 10. And they lost their last game as well. So this is a chance to bury somebody who's right on your heels a little bit. If you can put 4 points between you and Houston, that's that goes a long way toward making the playoffs. Having nobody coming up from behind you to get you. So that's kind of where we're at there. Angel City was missing Savvy King. We talked about it last week. She had the on-field incident. She had successful heart surgery, and she's recovering with her family. And everybody came out wearing SK3 like t-shirts made for both BFC and Angel City, because she was a BFC defender last season and was sent to LA per her own request. So Bay did right by her. And so it was oddly enough kind of fitting that the 2 teams that she's played for in the NWSL happened to be facing each other the following week after this incident. So there was a chance for them to kind of come together in a moment of camaraderie and fellowship and all of those beautiful sentiments. She's doing a lot better. She's posted on Instagram her thanks for the well wishes and all that good stuff. So that's what we like to hear. She's recuperating at home, and we're on to Houston for BFC. So nice. Feels good after getting a win. I was starting to get a little bit agitated, and I'm glad that they were able to get off the schneid. You got to win this upcoming game as well. Then you have an international break. So for Team USA to get a couple of games in for upcoming tournaments and whatnot. So that's kind of what we have on the docket. You got one more game before the international break, and Team USA did unveil new uniforms as well. The blue ones look pretty cool. It's like a deep dark navy like blue with red and a lighter blue pinstripes. Those look pretty good. Then the white kits, they're kind of white, but then like white and gray stars kind of covering it. I'm kind of neutral on the white kit, but the dark blue kit, I'm digging that one. So that's what we got for Woso.
Nice.
All right, what's next?
I'm ready, baby. Let's bring me
It's time to talk
the
hockey.
ice.
It's hockey talk. Let's go. Let's go, baby.
Here we go.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, man. Hit me with the Stanley Cup date here. What do we got?
All right, so our Stanley Cup date, we have the semifinals for both the Western and the Eastern conferences are over. We have our finalists set. Dallas beats Winnipeg 4-2, and Edmonton gives Vegas the gentleman's sweep 4-1. In the East, Toronto lost in the most Toronto way possible, just like we said it would happen. Just when you think that they're going to finally break through,
nope.
They lose like 6-1 against Florida in Game 7, and Toronto knows a new form of heartbreak. Not really new, but just something a little different. Carolina ended up taking care of Washington in 5 games as well. So you have Florida versus Carolina in the East. You have Dallas and Edmonton in the West.
Man, so I'd love that East schedule, man. Huh? Just down that turnpike one.
Yeah,
2-hour drive.
I don't love that I'm gonna be cheering for Dallas in the Western Conference. Like, I do still have some old wounds that die kind of hard. So in the finals, I will be cheering for whoever the Eastern representative is. But I can't cheer for Edmonton. Any team that has Corey Perry and Evander Kane, I can't do it. I'm out. So go Dallas. Go Stars.
I'll root for the Canes. I'll root for the Canes.
Get Bernsey his name on the trophy.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. So that's kind of where I'm going. But even if the Canes end up losing to Florida, it would still feel gross to cheer for anybody in the West over, even if it is Florida, like a bunch of rats in Florida, literally, like they throw rats on the ice in victory. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm kind of hoping for Carolina is kind of who I'm hoping for at this point. So that way Bernsey can get his name on the cup.
I'm gonna jump your notes here a little bit because
please do.
Talking about Toronto here, and there's a name that has been circled since last year, now more prominent this year. Mitch Marner, who is a winger for the Maple Leafs. Obviously, we know the Maple Leafs did not make it. The fans are divided because San Jose fans believe that he'd be a great fit, while some people think that Mitch Marner does not show up in the biggest of moments, a la what we just saw this current playoffs. So I want to get your guys' take. Vince, I'm going to let you go first because I think you're going to be on the opposite side of the spectrum here. Mitch Marner, good for the Sharks, bad for the Sharks?
I think Mitch Marner could put up some numbers. Like nobody's going to question that. He's going to put up some numbers for whatever team he's playing for next year. That being said, I think he's going to be the wrong side of 30. He's 28.
Yes.
He's going to turn 29 next year, right? The contract that you're going to have to give him is probably a 7-year contract.
Yes.
And it's going to cost you a lot. He's going to be asking for top dollar. He's going to get close to top dollar. I would not be shocked if he's getting 12 or 13 mil a year, and that's kind of the top range of NHL salaries. So I want to be paying Mitch Marner 5 years from now in his age 34 season to disappear to even more so because he'll be on the wrong side of 30 at that point? I don't. They didn't pay Joe Pavelski. Why the hell would I want them to pay Mitchell Marner? So you know what? Let somebody else overpay for him. There's going to be plenty of other people, to sign in free agency, and So I'm if they do end up signing him, obviously I'm going to hope for the best and I'm going to cheer for him, and I hope that maybe it was just the Toronto mixer and it was just Toronto itself that was causing him to not show up in games 6 and 7.
Sure.
and
It was the
maybe a
maple
breath of
syrup,
fresh air.
dude. He needs some sea
He needs-
salt.
Yeah, he needs
Salt
a little
water.
salt air and the rust on your door, for my Taylor Swift fans out there. So
Well, I mean,
maybe that's what we need. Maybe that's what he needs. But I'm willing to let somebody else overpay for him. I don't want to do that. And
to be fair, I mean, it could be also the pressures of playing for your hometown team. Markham is not that far from Toronto, so could be a little bit of that. Could be a little column A, column B. But I'm gonna let Sam here. Sam seemed like he was a little excited about the possibility of him wearing the teal. And what are you saying here?
I definitely feel a little bit of excitement to hear that it could happen. Because I said this before. You got to start winning. You had the number one pick. You got Celebrini. You got Will Smith. You got a bunch of guys coming up. You got to start winning now. These guys need to start winning as soon as possible. I know you're not going to maybe compete for a cup next year, but you got to at least start trying to get to a 500 and above team as soon as possible. On paper, I would love to just sign any free agent or get somebody in the building that helps lead to more wins. But at the same time, I get it. I don't think the Sharks are going to bring him in just based on like what Mike Greer has said publicly. That a couple years ago he said, I'm only going to offer contracts that are like 2 and 3 years. He did not go beyond that. Whatever he said, if it was 2 years, he didn't sign anybody past a 2-year contract. And in his last interview when at the end of the season, I believe he said it was like 4 years, maybe 5 years, but he's not going to break the piggy bank and lock himself up until he really knows what he has in his team. So I don't expect it. If somehow Mitch Marner wanted to take a 4-year deal, sure, do it on a 4-year deal or maybe a 5-year deal. But when you start getting into 6, 7, I think it's going to be looked at as you're hamstringing the team. And then you don't know what's going to happen in 6 or 7 years if Celebrini and Will Smith and Musty and Eklund, these guys are all super bona fide stars, and you're trying to keep this team together. That may be a problem for the future. So I think Mike Greer is usually going to want to pay your guys that you drafted, and I think they still want to sift through the roster and find their guys to pay first. I would like it on Mike Greer's terms, but I don't think it's going to happen just because of the commitment, really.
right. And I can't remember if it was Bleacher Report or The Athletic, but there was a list of about 9 places where Mitchell Marner could land, and the Sharks were not actually on that list. Surprising to me. So I was like, why the hell did I get this alert anyway? Then but
Yeah.
So I as interesting as it would be to bring in somebody who can
Have some
fill in
juice.
the net a bit, that has some juice. I don't think it's going to happen. A lot of people inside the league don't think it's happening either, apparently, or at least people that cover the league professionally.
It would be nice to get somebody who has a little bit of juice left, so these young guys could like see it in action. It's great that the Sharks have these mentors off the ice, but it's also like having a bona fide scorer or really great defenseman or whatever, like having that quality veteran presence on the ice, on the field.
Somebody to go along with future captain Tyler Toffoli.
Hey, look, I will say this. There's no way the Sharks can give out a 7-year contract. Not with this roster.
It's not happening. No.
So while I agree that he may demand a 7-year, Greer's not going to give a 7-year. 5, maybe. You are right on the money on that, I think, Sam. 5, I think, is about as far as he'd want to go. Marner does not have to do the contract. By all means, he can get top dollar anywhere he wants to go. Now, I will say, him falling short in the playoffs really is probably going to hurt him a lot more than maybe he thought as far as, top dollars. But I would think at this point, let's just say the Sharks do end up with Misa, right? This is all moot then. There's no point we're even looking at Marner at that point. We've already got the winger of our future there. I think we're going to probably focus more on free agent defensive end players? Do we bring back some veteran players? You know what I mean? Like, is it worthwhile bringing Brett Burns back just to help mentor and coach some of the team? The younger guys. He's going to be a free agent. Maybe you sign him for a 2-3 year deal type of situation just to mentor while you build up defensively. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go. It is going to end up on what draft day looks like, but if you're asking me, I don't think Marner belongs in a Sharks uniform.
I'll tell you what. You mentioned Brent Burns. I think if Carolina does end up winning the cup this year, if they actually do get the job done, that's been another team that has fallen short. Although they've fallen short a lot further along than Toronto has.
Right.
They've been close a few times, but they've fallen short in the Eastern Conference Finals, a few times. So if they do get the job done this year and they do end up actually winning the Stanley Cup, I think it might be an easier sell because now Brent Burns to get Brent Burns back.
Jason,
check that box.
He's got his name on the cup now, and you could for 2 years you could max him out for 2 years. There's enough room in the salary cap,
I would say so.
They could fork over that money, and if he does not re-sign with Carolina, and he's open to taking that kind of a role, like a mentorship type role, especially if like Sam Dickinson does end up being making the team out of camp. I think that's the kind of guy you would want to target, especially
or even if Schaefer fell to the Sharks,
and
you bring in that defenseman, you're gonna want that veteran defenseman, that on ice mentor. I could see it.
Somebody who's gonna plant the seeds in the garden. Go Canes, man. I think that's the only way that Brent Burns is available to the Sharks, I think, this offseason, is if he's able to get his name on the cup, I think. Because otherwise he's going to cup chase.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a couple other defensive players that I'm looking at. Obviously, Brent Burns would be the most ideal fit as far as mentorships, but Ryan Lindgren, out of for Colorado, he's going to be a free agent. He's 27. Maybe you can get him on a 4 or 5 year deal and at max, and he can help mentor too. It's not like he doesn't have experience with Colorado and championship winning atmosphere. Right. So I think it all depends on what draft day looks like.
It's a similar blueprint to what happened when they ended up getting Dan Boyle years and years ago. Dan Boyle was one of the defensemen on the ice for the Tampa Bay Lightning in 2004. Like he was the one locking down while the Leafs, while the Lightning were up, trying to defend that lead in that final game, in that clinching game that finally got Dave Andrzejczyk's name on the cup. Way back when. So somebody like that that they could bring in either via trade or signing, and who can be a veteran leadership presence. Although Dan Boyle was a lot younger than Brent Burns is now. So
I do hope the Sharks bring back Mook Madulin, though, by the way. Not because his name is awesome to say, but because I think he did show some promise there towards the end of the season.
Oh, absolutely.
So, he's a restricted free agent. The Sharks can obviously offer whatever they want, but
most restricted free agents end up staying with their original team. I would in the NHL. Like poaching hardly ever happens.
Yes.
It has been known to happen here and there. I do remember a certain team in Teal that signed Hjalmarsson to a contract that Chicago then matched, but because they matched it, they ended up losing Antti Niemi, who then signed with a certain team in Teal. So it has happened before where like some gamesmanship has happened, but for the most part, I think McMillan's going to end up staying in Teal, and he'll be somebody that is probably staying up with the big team the entirety of next year as well. I don't, especially if they only bring in one or two defensemen, big names, then they're going to have to backfill, right?
Sure.
And he played, he showed flashes, and that's what you want to see. When you bring the guys up, you want to see flashes of what they can be, and he definitely showed that. So, it's all good vibes here in Teal, even though you finished last. you have the number 2 pick in the draft as well. So like, not a lot of winning, but the vibes are immaculate. And so I'm actually getting a lot of TikToks as well. Like people talking about the team wasn't that great, but everybody was having fun. Whereas you look at Chicago, for example, and just the vibes are terrible, and they're winning. They only won like 3 more games than the Sharks. So like you could do almost the same amount of losing and have it be miserable, or you can have some fun. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
There's a lot of positive vibes around the Sharkies.
That's right. Just a couple of quick notes in the NHL in general. The Sharks and the city of San Jose are in agreement on a 25-year lease extension on the tank. The team will be at SAP Center until at least 2050. There was never any real danger of relocating, according to the team and the city. But as former A's fans, we're a little skittish about any of that kind of talk. So I'm just glad that that's handled, and the city of San Jose is the city council is gonna vote on that next month, and that'll finalize the deal. And the Sharks are they're gonna keep putting money into the tank. It is one of the older barns in the league.
That's what I was gonna ask.
It's still in great shape because they take care of it, because they put money into it, they invest in it, they make sure like every now and then they replace every few years they replace the boards. They go in, they upgraded the screen. They consistently keep upgrading the facility. The seats are great. Like honestly, I can't think of a time I've ever sat in a bad seat in that barn, man. Like no matter where it is, you're able to there's pretty good sight lines all over. It's a well constructed building that still has plenty of life in it, and they're going to keep using it, and they're going to keep improving it, so that way people can keep going to Sharks games in San Jose through 2050. And
yeah,
at that point
that there's some more updates going to happen to the arena too, so
absolutely
more stuff is on the way.
Yeah, and they're going to keep doing that. And it's amazing what happens when an owner takes care of his facility. You don't have to build a new one every 25 years. These buildings can last for 50 or 60 years. There's no reason, if you do it right, it should last. And
how old is Wrigley Field and Fenway? I think, and I know those are like outliers.
Those were built in the 1910s,
right?
Both of them, like
with what we know now as humans, with what we know now, to me, it makes perfect sense to have a stadium. If a city is going to hand over hundreds of millions of dollars, you want to try to preserve that arena or stadium for as long as you can, because making repairs, as long as you're continuously doing the maintenance and the upgrades throughout its lifespan, you're going to maximize that. Of course, buildings have an expiration date sometimes, but as evident to some of our classic baseball parks, like you can keep these things going, you can salvage them. So I'm really happy that the Sharks and the city are coming to an agreement, and it's something that's not going to keep me up at night.
25 years is a long year. I think
that's right. And that building, by 2050, it's going to be almost 60 years old.
Yeah, I think this contract is going to outlive the majority owner. What's his name?
Hasso Plattner. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's like 80-something years old. So I think this contract is going to outlive him.
Talking about planting seeds in a garden you're never going to get to see, I do love this, and I hope that, obviously because he's ancient, whoever ends up taking over for him after continues this trend of being a good steward of this franchise. I wish he would speak a little bit more, but I don't want him speaking too much more. Like that's my only real complaint, is we literally never hear from him. I think instead of being early Jed York, I want now Jed York. Like that's the level. Like Jed York figured it out eventually. I wish Hasso Plattner would speak up a little bit more here and there, but for the most part, he's provided the money for the team when the team was good to like keep contending, and he always gave the green light to make any go big game hunting and whatnot. bringing in somebody like Brent Burns and Dan Boyle and Danny Heatley, and just the names go on and on and on. Martin Havlat, just like he's always been comfortable spending money when the team was good, and when the team was not good, there was, he's shown patience, and it looks like the team is on the right path, and him and his family are going to be able to reap the benefits of that, starting this offseason going forward, so like, I think he's somebody that's for the most part done it right. And I want to make sure that that's put out into the ether or whatever, so yeah.
For sure, man.
Yeah, just a couple of hiring notes. Rick Tocchet to the Flyers, another retread. Good God. We talked about it last week with I forgot who's going to Anaheim, but yeah, Joe Quenneville. Yeah,
Yes.
Retreads.
Quinny.
But the Canucks hiring Adam Foote, promoting him from assistant head coach to head coach. Finally somebody new getting a head coaching job. We talked about it. It's like 40 guys rotating in and out of the 32 spots for head coach positions. I'm glad somebody new is getting a shot. I'm glad the Sharks did it with Warsaw. I'm glad Adam Foote is getting it. I remember him getting that cup win in Colorado in 2001. So he's going to try to hopefully fail at getting the Canucks there, because there's a little bit of history there as well for me, like that. But obviously, I love seeing new guys get a chance. And one last bit of news for the Sharks. SJ Sharkey is up for the Mascot Hall of Fame. Go to his Instagram and vote for him there. He's got a link in his bio. So
let me tell you real quick here, because I've been making my vote here while we've been doing this podcast here. Some notable names. There's a few there. You can pick up to 11, which I think is crazy because there's only 18 of them. So the fact that you can pick
only vote, like literally go in there and only vote for Sharkey. Like
Yeah.
That's what I did. I'm only voting for Sharkey. And it depresses the vote total for everybody else. So go in there and vote for Sharkey. Let's get him in where he belongs.
So some notables here. They picked the absolute worst picture. Not that I was going to vote for it anyways, but the Stanford tree is up for mascot of the year. It's an abomination of a photo.
I'm a Cal guy. Whatever. Go Bears.
The Oregon Duck. Goldie Golfer, University of Minnesota. Sparty of Michigan. I only know about this guy because he does backflips and they're pretty cool. But Cosmo, the Cougar of BYU, he does some pretty cool tricks. He's up there.
Yeah. What about non-college?
Non-college, unfortunately, we have the Woolly Bull of the Durham Bulls, which used to be
minor league baseball.
Yeah, we do have Homer the Dragon of the Charlotte Knights, and local, the Altoona Curve. Okay, one that I thought he'd already be in there by now. Big Al from the University of Alabama, Roll Tide. He is not in the Mascot Hall of Fame. Thought he would be there by now.
Well, just because your team is good doesn't mean your mascot's good.
Mascot's terrible. It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. So Sebastian the Ebis is in there of the U. He's in there as well too. But nonetheless, the other terrifying one is Harvey the Hound. He looks like a sleazy uncle of Chucky the Cheese, and it is a terrifying picture. Vote for San Jose, vote for Sharkey, and if you got any other mascots you want to vote for, you can pick 11 of them. So have fun.
Yeah, but don't just vote for Sharkey to press everybody else's votes. That's how you get in. Anyway, okay, so that's that. I think that's it. I think we got to call it a night, guys. We've been on for more than an hour at this point. So yeah, let's just let's wrap this up. There was one other thing. Just shout out to the alligator in Happy Gilmore. That was Morris. He passed away. RIP to a real one. Over 80 years old for that alligator. And on that note, thanks for tuning in. Subscribe on YouTube, hit the bell for live alerts. If you don't have time to listen to the full episode, we're putting out shorts here and there, and we're putting out smaller chunks as well. So follow us on the social medias at SVT Sports Pod. Slide in them DMs. Let's go Sharky.
Go Birds.
FJF.